Hey YouTube, my name is Eric and I run a small 3D printing business out of my small home office in the basement. If you're new to my channel, welcome. This is my second vlog video. Just wanted to kind of give some information today about my business as far as the materials I use, the printers I use, how I go about shipping, doing listing photos, things like that. Stuff that you have to do on a day-to-day basis in order to create products, get them listed, sold, and shipped out to customers. So a little bit about me. I am an IT person. I'm a very avid gamer. Love computers, love technology. I've been in the 3D printing game for about 6 years now. Started in 2019 with an Ender 3, and I have now worked my way up to, I currently work with a Creality K1 Max and a Bambu Lab P1S with an AMS system, as you can probably see behind me here. So far with my Etsy shop, I've been live for about 3 weeks, currently at 9 sales, and hopefully in the new year, in 2025, I'm looking to expand, grow the business, and hopefully, see where the year takes me. I think this is a really exciting business to be in, and there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of growth available on Etsy and just in the 3D printing making space. So I'd like to start out by talking about the couple of printers that I currently use on a daily basis. The first one here, you can see behind me, is a Creality K1 Max. I went to Micro Center on a whim and decided, this is really cool. I didn't realize that printers could print this fast now. I mentioned I was on an Ender 3, and anybody who's used that knows how slow and prone to issues those printers are, which kind of at that time put me off of 3D printing for a while. And getting this new printer, it's not without its challenges, but it was a breath of fresh air, and really reignited that passion for 3D printing and making that I had lost for probably a couple years. So my K1 Max, I run stock. I did have it rooted at one point to run Clipper, but I think it was having some issues with RAM, or the motherboard just couldn't handle what I was throwing at it, and I kept getting a lot of error messages. So I actually factory reset it. It's now back to running fully stock, and I think it's been working a lot better. There are some things that I miss. Clipper has functions like it's called Camp, which does like an adaptive bed mesh leveling as well as purging. But those were really the only things that I was using the rooted firmware for. Everything else seems to still just work fine with the stock firmware. Some issues that I've had with the K1 Max, some different types of filaments. I don't know if I just don't have the settings dialed in correctly, but different filaments will print at different speeds. That's pretty normal, but different filaments with the same brand and the same type of PLA is what I primarily print with, have issues where they're either under extruding or over extruding, have a lot of first level or first layer issues with adhesion. I think I've got most of those sorted out, but that's been kind of a challenge ever since I got the printer. But for the most part, I think the printer has been pretty reliable. I've gotten a lot of really good prints off of it, and I still had a lot of failures. So with that said, I needed something I felt a little bit more reliable than the Creality. I had no idea what Bambu Lab was. I didn't even know that they were on the scene. Like I said earlier, I had kind of been out of the 3D printing game for a while. But then I kept seeing on Reddit and YouTube that people were raving about Bambu Lab printers. So I looked into them, and that's when I first learned about the AMS system and multi-material systems. So I went ahead and went to Micro Center and I picked one up. You can see behind me here. Picked up a P1S with the AMS system, and that thing has been pretty much nothing but a dream. It prints almost flawlessly every time. I have had some issues with over extrusion, I think. The first layer sometimes is a little rough, but by and large, prints come out very well. The material system, the AMS system, is, as everyone says, a huge waster of filament. The poop that it puts out is ridiculous. But for the most part, I don't do a ton of multicolored prints. It's mostly functional or single color prints that don't require multiple colors. So a couple cons about the Bambu Lab that I really enjoyed from the K1 Max, that the Bambu Lab P1S doesn't have. The camera sucks in the P1S. As anybody who's ever used it knows, it's like, I think, half a frame a second, which is okay if you're just monitoring it every now and then, but I got used to the 15 frames a second on the K1. So that's been a little bit to get adjusted to. It doesn't take long, but yeah, it was just kind of a nitpick. And then the screen on the front of the printer is not great. But I went ahead and got one of the big Tree Tech Panda Touches, and it's basically exactly like any Creality printer, or any of the new ones with their touchscreen interfaces, or like the X1C Carbon. So I've installed that, and that has been working really well. Really makes the printer feel a lot more premium. All right, so the type of filaments that I use, I mainly print in PLA. My favorite brands right now are Elegoo Rapid PLA Plus, as well as Sunlu's high-speed PLA. Those have been almost issue-free since getting those. And I found that the Elegoo tends to be cheaper if you buy bundles of them on Amazon. So I've been buying a lot of that. I also have a lot of Sunlu as well, just because those filaments are both really great. I do have still a lot of almost 5-year-old PLA that I hadn't gone through when I was using my Ender 3. But I'm slowly working through getting all those printed out, and I have a filament dryer from Creality, so I've put all of the older filaments in there, got them dried out, and they've been printing pretty well. Even in the AMS system, they've gotten good use, and most of them are almost empty. And so now I'm primarily using the Rapid PLA for anything that I am selling. That's the material that I use. I've also tried PETG. That's been a little bit more of a challenge, but I've been able to get some good prints out of that. And then I also dabbled in ASA. I had a custom order request come in, and it was for a part that goes into, it was like a console tray that goes into someone's car. And if you know anything about PLA, it will warp in the heat. So of course, anyone should know that vehicles during the summer will heat up, and PLA will soften and eventually deform. So this particular application required something with a little more heat resistance. So I tried ASA, and that's when I still only had my K1 Max. And the print went great. Got that printed out, sent out to the customer, elated. So yeah, there's definitely fumes. It's definitely more finicky. I had a first tried to print that. Halfway through, I think it was a 7-hour print, it failed. It started warping and lifting up off the bed, so I had to scrap it and start over. But the second print went really well, and like I said, got that out to the customer, and super happy. And some other materials that I really want to try. My brother is really into RC cars, and there's some parts that he can't get because they don't make them, so we're going to try and model them. And I want to try printing in carbon fiber just because RC car parts require that more reinforced material. So somewhere down the line, once we get that designed, I'll get that printed, and we'll see how it functions. All right, so another part of running a 3D printing business is whatever storefront you're putting your products up on, you need to have listing photos. So for Christmas this year, my family did a Secret Santa, and one of my items on my list was a photo booth. And it was really cool. I got it. So thank you, Secret Santa. And yeah, so part of what I can do with it, it's a little light box, a 16 by 16 light box. It has different PVC backdrops, different colors you can put in there, and then I also got a turntable with it. So I can put my products on there, rotate the product around, and get a nice good showcase of the product in the light box. So it's been working really well. Most of my listing photos have been done with that system. Before, I was just taking a regular picture with my phone and then using an AI generator to create backgrounds. And they were okay, but you could definitely tell that they were fake, and I much prefer this method of taking listing photos. Okay, so next, after you have printed out your model, you get it photographed, you get it listed and sold on your storefront of choice. The next is you have to ship it out to your customer. And I run a very, very small shipping center. I don't right now have a lot of sales. Haven't needed to expand it yet. At some point I will. But right now I'm running a thermal printer, thermal label printer, 4x6 inch labels, getting those printed out. I have a shipping scale that I use to weigh the packages, put it into the postage calculator that Etsy provides, and then I have a few different materials that are a few different packaging options that I can use depending on what the product calls for. I have certain boxes that fit the product dimensions. I have padded envelopes, padded sleeves that smaller items can go into for extra protection. And then work, we get a lot of shipments in, and it comes with packing materials that I can save and reuse, because otherwise we would just throw them out. So I have collected that, and I will use that to ship products out to customers. All right, and finally, one of the important aspects of running a business in today's environment is engaging with social media. I am not a social media expert. The only thing is I've really ever done with it before is having my own Instagram and Facebook for personal use, but I've never done reels other than watch them. I've never created anything for shop listings or trying to promote a business. So that's all been very new to me. So I'm learning. I have a friend actually who runs her own woodworking business, has a very successful Etsy shop. So she's given me quite a few pointers, which has been very, very useful, very helpful. I now have a Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, and YouTube, because you're watching this on YouTube. And keeping all that updated and getting things cross-posted has been fun. It's been a bit of a challenge, but I'm slowly learning, getting used to the workflow, and yeah, it's just become easier. But it's very important, just because you need to get your name out there. You need to get the types of products you're selling, and then in the instance of like this vlog series, just kind of giving that behind the scenes look, and getting that information out to other people who want to perhaps engage in a journey like this, who are also thinking about starting a 3D printing business or any other kind of business that don't know really how to get started and what's really involved. So I think this kind of information is very important to get out there. I know that I've been very influenced, and I found a lot of really great information online from other YouTubers. So thank you to them. But yeah, just kind of paying it forward and making sure that you get noticed online. All right, so I know that was a lot of information. Thank you so much for sticking around with me through it. I have a lot of things that I want to achieve and a lot of milestones that I want to hit this year with running this business, so I'm super excited for that. If you want to follow along with me on that journey, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe, and if you have any questions or comments that I didn't address in this video that you'd like me to talk about in the next one, feel free to leave those down in the comment section below. Also, most of what I talked about today, I have links in the description for like the products that I use on a daily basis, so feel free to check those out. And yeah, thanks again for watching, and I will see you all next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.